Hello everyone, I'm at the mall right now, so you could hear some noise at the background. Anyway, it's been a while, uh, but what is it, 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks. I wanted to get this live stream. I've been thinking about doing this for a couple of weeks now. I was just trying to get more data, so that I'll be able to help you guys as you pursue this building process. So check in when you come in. Um, I'm excited. I'm back in the hunt this year. There's a lot of things happening in Ghana. Afrochala concert, the year of return, and so Ghana is on the map, and there's a lot of excitement also. So I think we can take advantage of this opportunity to take care of business. I'm back again. I'm looking forward to this live stream. So let me know if you can hear me because. The mall, so you could hear some music at the background. Occasionally, you might see people walk behind me, and so I wanted to get some fresh air out of the house, and so I wanted to just put this thing out there. Okay, so anybody can hear me, let me know. So then I have to increase the decibels. Anyway, so one of the things I'll give you a backdrop, and then we're gonna go into how you can increase your success rate. I found some great data in Ghana, not just only in Ghana, also in Africa, but some of the challenges that affect. So I'm going to give you some of the numbers, so then hopefully it makes sense. And if you have questions, we can go through them. So about the land process, I think I've done a series of videos about that, so you can check those. And then if you have questions after that, you can email me. But with the land, basically it's about what 20% of the land is owned by the government. About 2% is owned by partnership between the chiefs and the government, and then 78% basically is owned by like the chief, the family, the clan, and that kind of stuff. So that is how the breakout is. Um, on average, so I'm just giving you data, and then we're going to talk about more of the goodies. So on average, it takes about 5 to 15 years to furnish a house in Ghana. So that is completion and livable, right? Livable in the sense of you have furniture, you have all the appliances and everything. On average, it takes about 5 to 15 years. So if those of you who have been able to do it, before the 5 years, that's awesome. But on average, if it's taking you a little bit of time, I wanted to give you context that it took me about 8 years completely. So there is time, and don't feel like it will never get done. Okay. And so one of the reasons too is because like only 8% of the Ghanaian can afford buying a houses using the mortgage system. About 8% can access that. Okay. About 50% can access loans from the bank to build or purchase a home, right? So that means about 73% of the people you have to pay out of your own, your own way, so your own income, cash or something like that. So this is all factoring in to give you those numbers, okay? On average, there's about, depending this is the data from 2013, so it's about 24% of the homes go uncompleted, right? Uncompleted means um, it is a wrap, right? It is not done, it's not furnished. There might be like the building structure is there. Sometimes there is plastering or no plastering, and then there's some roof or makeshift roof, and then you have people living in it, sometimes squatters or sometimes family members. And so uncompleted, not I'm not referring to uncompleted as it's like it's not like completed in the sense of, the project will be continuing. No, uncompleted means something happened to the builder that basically that house is just what it is for a long time of perpetuity. Okay, so on average, about 24%. And I'm going to go into some of the reasons. So check in when you come in. Um, so I'm going to go in some of the reasons. And so one, about 60% is about financial constraint, right? That's something to do with money. Okay, something happened to the money. Okay, and so I'm gonna break that down in a little bit into the video. And then about 22% is unwarranted design variation. So people start something, or sometimes you send somebody to start building your house, and next thing you know, you go over there, and they decided to do something that looks really, really nice for them. Some of you have already experienced that. Okay, costing you thousands of dollars or pounds to redesign the house to your own specs, right? Or sometimes people start with a one story, and then they decide they want to do another story. No, no. If you have a blueprint for one story, don't change that to a double story. It's not structurally sound. Okay, about close to about 10%. Okay, it's about some kind of land litigation in which maybe you are building, and all of a sudden what happens is, another owner shows up, right? And this thing goes into limbo. This thing goes into litigation, and then they can never tell who actually owns the property and that kind of stuff, or is dragging around. And sometimes people just leave the whole thing and just move on, right? So it's about 10%, right? And then it's about 8% is about failure to acquire maybe developmental permits or that kind of stuff. That happens, and people have been shut down and that kind of stuff. So about 8%. So you run this thing up, it's about 100% and stuff. And so I would like to talk about some of the financial reasons why why people are not able to complete this process, right? So number one reason, which is tied to the financial constraint, is misuse of funds, right? That is the number one reason, right? Which is fraud in procurement, or diversion of funds, or lack of controls and accountability. And that is what, when I talk about that our business do, right? We know that that is the biggest thing, right? Sending money down there and people not actually doing what they're supposed to do. That is the number one reason, financial reason why things don't get done. Okay. And so that is why I always said vet people, right? Double check people and stuff like that. Go with your instinct and stuff like that. It doesn't matter who you're working with. If even you're working with us, still vet us, vet our credibility. Okay, ask questions and that kind of stuff, because we want you to protect your resources, right? That's number one. The second, the second one, which also has something to do with financial constraint, is poor planning or poor management, right? So poor decision, okay, and also poor decision can be lack of control of the resources during like the implementation, right? In which is like, remember when I talk about steps, right? The steps to build this, right? Because we work hard for the money, and we make sure that we are structuring it and we are making quality decisions, right? And poor decision is going to affect you financially, right? And that kind of stuff. The third reasons that I think this is a big one is people uh, fall into is underestimates, right, or underestimations, right? So like unrealistic time and cost due to unqualified estimations, right? So that's what happens, right? They give you a quote, and all of a sudden it comes back, and then you are building, and then it's double the price, right? So we do our best to honor that quote with a little bit few flexibility here and there, but we try to get it as close as possible, right? So underestimate can really, really stretch it, right? You thought 100,000 was going to cut it, and then you found out that 100,000 doesn't even give you roofing, doesn't even give you electrical, doesn't even give you all kinds of stuff, right? You have to put in another 50. So that is a big deal, right? Big deal. And also another thing is like, which sometimes you can control, sometimes you can control, is like lack of experience, right? For most of us, this is our first engagement into this expensive endeavor. We've never done this before. Okay, the internet, sometimes you don't know what is going on. Everybody has their own two piece in there. And so because you lack this experience, right? Sometimes, you make a lot of mistakes, right? You make a lot of mistakes that can be costly. Okay. And what we do is to minimize the mistakes, that nothing is so devastating that the project comes to a halt, right? So that is why you work with people that have experience, people that have proven that they can do it. Okay. Then another factor too is inflation, right? Like I said, we got to watch for the CD, devaluation and all kinds of stuff. We know when to do projects, timing of the city, during election, after election, that kind of stuff. So we watch out for inflation. Okay. And then there's other things that, incompetent contractor, that happens, they don't have a good training staff. Sometimes just, shady people, sometimes people sabotage the process, right? Especially when you do with family members, sometimes people will sabotage it because look, your success may be a reflection of somebody's inability to do something, right? So these are some of the challenges that I want you to be thinking about. There's other things too, as like faulty design and in the process that we were always making correction, or lack of professional training, and sometimes too, the financing source dry out, right? You lose your job, illnesses, this thing called life happens, and then that can like slow everything down. So one of the things like we do is when we do consultation is that we try to find out where the source of money is coming from, right? And then we try to educate you. We never encourage you basically to just put all your money um, into the project. We say, look, okay, can you put 20%? Can you start with 20%? Can you do 25 every year? Increase it by a certain number of percent. Why you for the business, right? Why you put emergency down? Because we know you should have at least 6 months, you know, of emergency money down. That if you lose your job, you should be able to cover all your bills and not struggle. So we talk about all these things. So this is some of the stuff I've been able to gather, and also some of these things I went through this myself. So I wanted to bring this thing to you like 2 weeks ago, and it's just like crazy stuff. Things has been busy. I'm in Ghana mode right now, so it's like I'm trying to get some things taken care of and stuff like that. But I feel like today I needed to get out of the house and do this live stream. Okay, so let me know if you have questions. Just throw them in there. We can talk about each of the challenges specifically, and then then I can give you examples and stuff like that. And if some of you has already gone through some of these things, you may share as well. This is a community of sharing ideas, our experiences, and about helping each other. But at the end of the day, I hope you find value in what we bring, and my goal is, I think like we figured this thing out how to do it, and we would love for you guys to work with us. But if you choose to go on your own, at least you have the information to protect yourself. But we are always here because, like I said, not everything that can be put into the public domain and that kind of stuff. There's certain things that are just confidential, and then we deal with it on a one-on-one basis as the need becomes. But there's a lot of people that have reached out to me. So if you have questions, you can start posting them now. About the going to Ghana and stuff like that, and I think a bulk of them are probably going late December to early next year. I think the third quarter of next year, to either acquire land or start your project. So this is what it's about, right? It's about having an option, so you don't feel trapped. You should never feel trapped. You should always have an options that you can adapt and then increase your quality of life. Um, but you know Ghana is a great choice. I know people are checking Gambia and other places as well, but whatever rocks your boat, go for it. But it is important that you understand these things and some of the things to watch out, and so then you can succeed. Because I want you to succeed. There's nothing more. I want you to have that dream home and do with a peace of mind and live comfortably and live the dream that you deserve without limitations, right? Okay, so um, anyway, so yeah, so there will be traffic definitely. Um, okay, so these are some of the steps that you just have to pay attention to as And other things may happen too. I mean, you can control all of these things, but you will have things now always being done, to your expectations. But I think with vigilance and stuff like that, you can just take advantage of that. So keep the likes up, and also I know some of you have not clicked on the notification bell, because usually when I text some of you, like I didn't even know there was a live stream. So make sure you have clicked on the notification bell so you can get updates, and that kind of stuff. And so because it's important, because I've had people tell me, man, had I know this information, I would make some adjustments. So just check them. And like I said, obviously I can't do videos every day, but I'll bring it to you as the need uh, becomes available, and I'll try to get the information to you as soon as possible, right? So who's going to Ghana? Let me know um, this year or early next year. There's a couple of people that are building that are going this December to January and stuff like that. So then they're planning to do a get together and stuff like that. Because I think, let's use the network, right? Use the network because this process can be tough. It can be challenging. It can be stressful sometimes, but it can also be exciting, fulfilling. To see the realization of a worthy dream, and to eventually, uh, you know, leave a legacy. Pass it down to the kids or whatever you want to do after that. But life is good. It's very very good, and it's like we got to do it. Okay, so building permits. I did my building permits 2012 August, somewhere I think second week in August. Um, I think I paid at that time like 120 CDs or something like that. Either between 40 CDs or 120 CDs. I have to check. I think it was cheap at that time, and I think I got it. Um, I got it 2 weeks. Yeah, because we are. It was really close back to my site, about 3 minutes drive. So we were going there. So we got like 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and then we started. We started bidding with a receipt, and then we got everything and that kind of stuff. So I think it's very important. Every day you hear like the building collapse and all that stuff. So you have to make sure there's a structure engineer on site. Um, and stuff like that to check, because it's like the safety, no compromise for safety. Yeah, so that's estimate. Yeah, so the G, yeah, you're gonna be there 20th. Okay, good, 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 good. I'll probably see you over there. So what is the difference between Germany concrete and flooring? Which one you advise? I think this question has been asked before, and I think um and then flooring. So there's two ways. There's two ways, like they do the flooring. So what you can do, this is how I did mine. So once they've done with the foundation and they build to a little bit level, they'll do this casting. Usually they use chippings, cement, and sand, and then they'll cast it around the edges of the wall to secure it. Some people will just do the flooring right away, and they'll cast everything. But then some people will wait, and so that's why they did it. There's not right or wrong, and but I also think too is like one of the things. I think we should start doing this anyway. Put moisture barrier. Because water, you never know. I've gone to some places that water has really damaged beautiful, incredible homes. So make sure whatever flowing system you are doing, you are putting in the water vapor system, right? um, and stuff like that. And then when you start painting, probably use waterproof paint and stuff like that. So just these things, you don't want to be dealing with them down the road. Um, good. Yeah. So the business, yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna be dabbling on a few businesses when I go couple of months, and so but I think And then when I come back, I want to share more on that. But I think I can't work for anybody when I go down there. It's not gonna work out that way. So I gotta do something. But so like I said, time businesses, most of you are, or most of us are trying to do the high end stuff, but looking to the media stuff, right? The middle stuff. There's a lot of opportunities over there, right? That you can do, so you have the masses, so you can create something that serve the masses, right? And stuff like that, because everybody is trying to do for the top 1%. That is good, but you want to be diversifying not just your resources, and also like your business opportunities. You want to go low, medium, high. Okay, you want to capture as many things in the net as possible. So stop thinking about that. I have few things. I have things that I want to target for the 1%. That's going to take more resources, so that's going to be pushed back like a couple of years. But then there's some things I want to do for the middle, which is the bulk of everything, that I'm going to start dabbling into that a couple of months. Yeah, the red bricks. That's good. You can. I think the cost is cheaper. I think it's cheap. It's cooler. So it's much cooler than the actually the cement, the regular cement blocks that we use. But I think these things sometimes can be aesthetics. You know, like I think I love the building with red bricks. I think in my lifetime I'll probably build another building with that. Even the new technology they are building, the ramp F1. They're using limestone, and the red soil and that kind of stuff, laterite and stuff like that. That also looks good, aesthetic. So it depends what you want to do, and sometimes just get a cost, and then figure it out. Structure is structure as long as it's sound. Don't feel like you have to do everything high end though. What you don't want to do is like compromise structure and integrity. But whether it's like regular cement blocks, you know, red bricks, or like the ramp F, they're all good. Yes. And then see, yeah, ramp F. Yep, yep. So I spoke to the lady again 2 weeks ago. The book, because I have a project for a client that I need to work on. It's a big project that I need to work on sometime March, April. So I might need to go to Ghana around that time, and so it's in the mountains. And so when I go to Ghana, I'm going to meet with them and pinpoint and just put down the time, and we're going to do that. But the ramp F is nice. It's nice. I was impressed. I was very, very impressed and stuff like that. So, but it takes time. It takes time to see how the durability and stuff like that. But I was my initial when I went there, I was really impressed about that and stuff. It's much cooler. Looks structurally sound. It's a little bit cheaper because I think they use 10% of the cement. And cement, man, a lot of money goes into cement. So anytime you can save about 90% of cement, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So anyway, so it depends what you want. Don't limit yourself to anything. There's new technologies, coming to Ghana, which is good for us. There's always options and stuff like that. Some are good, some are not so good. So it's about doing your homework. And obviously, we are here to advise you. And if you don't know, we'll figure it out, and let you know and stuff too. So one of the things, like I know some of you want to build apartment and stuff like that, and sometimes you want to build this massive apartment, right? Um, it's going to take a lot of money. Another way you can do that is, let's say if you want to do 3 stories, you can maybe start with the first story, rent it out, and build that kind of stuff. Because if it takes you maybe 10 years to build that 3 stories, right? So that 3 story, you make zero income from the apartment, right? So we got to start thinking about these things. But if you were in that 10 years, if you were building the first year, renting it out, and then continue taking that money with a little bit more money, and then build up the second level, and that kind of stuff. You would have been making money along the process. So we have to be thinking behind that, because you have to be careful. You don't want to get in the situation. I mean, to do about 3 levels, um, maybe 12 units. I mean, we're talking about seven, $800,000 or more, right? So we have to be realistic about these things, right? And so you don't have to cut back, but you can chip at it, slowly, and that kind of stuff. But that is what we're here to guide you, help you process these things. We don't want you to have one of your projects becomes the uncompleted situation, right? Because of underestimating all some of the problems we just elaborated. Okay. See if you have more questions here. Yep, CH, yep. So we can do the consultation whenever you are ready. So for the is there a way to get price on a ramp app just to get an idea of the cost? We can do that. We can do that. I can work with a lady. Um, Usually, what they do is they go to the site, because they what they do is they bring all the materials to the site, and then just like everything, but also the distance, factors in, and then that is also putting into the cost and all that kind of stuff. But I think we can get a narrow ballpark. But ideally, if you bid in house for house, right, same square foot and stuff, like same location, everything, ramp F is going to be a little bit cheaper, right? It's going to be a little bit cheaper. I'm going to figure out what is a rate, the percentage difference between them. But cement alone is going to be cheaper. You will still maintenance will be a little bit cheaper because it's much cooler. So maybe you might have to use minimum AC unit or that kind of stuff because the house is you know already cool and stuff like that. But I'm gonna talk to her and see whether she can give me a ballpark. Okay. So I hope this helps. I'm trying to. If you don't have any questions, I'll be wrapping up soon. Like I said, make sure you click on the notification button so you get a notification when I post this live stream or that kind of stuff. Um, okay, Mr. K, how bro? Have you also been able to do any homework on how Wi-Fi providers are said using? Yeah. So it depend. You see, it depends on the area. Okay, it depends on the area. So you can go Vodafone or MTN. Okay, my area, MTN works very well. But I was surprised. Like I have two phones. I vowed never to get two phones. So I have one Vodafone, I have one MTN, and so that give me flexibility to use hotspot. Right. In my house, I have a dedicated Wi-Fi. Okay, device that is just for my CCTV. You know, I really don't use that, and it works very very well. And the hotspot I've been using actually did work very well. Uh, and so having the flexibility, I think MTN actually works better than Vodafone, but depending on the area, right? So what my electrician did is, he went and checked out the area, the towers, make sure which had the strongest signal, and that kind of stuff. But it's not obviously as reliable as here and stuff like that. But I think it's about having the flexibility, right? And then you adapt, you adapt and that kind of stuff. So I can say it's like it wasn't too much of a nuisance. I was able to maneuver around that. So talking about decking, so you do decking. When you do the decking for the second level flooring, so you don't want to, when you do the wooden frame, the structure, you don't want to leave it for a long time. because what is going to happen if it start raining, right? Eventually, some of them is going to rot, and after some time too, they're going to lose. They is what is it? Durability. So you want to, and it's not cheap. Flooring is not cheap. So you want to do the framing and be ready to do the flooring right away, right? And then what you can do also too is like after you are done, because after you do the flooring, you can take some of the wood. Sometimes the tell you cannot be reused. Don't listen to that. You can use it to do your coping. When you're doing your coping for your fence wall and that kind of stuff, you can use it. Try to use it for other things as much as possible, right? And so, but I don't think it is wise to just do the wooden decking and just leave it for all this time. It's better just plan for both. So the wooden deck is done, you put your iron rods and everything, and then you start pouring concrete and stuff like that. And then you let it sit for 3 weeks to a month and then remove the deck. So does the number work to spend over 500K on apartment, which I'm considering when incomes are low for average income? Well, so the numbers, right? So this is what you have to figure it out, right? So when you want to do apartment, location, 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 right? Location is the big deal. Okay, you have to do that, and also you might have to do a little bit research what people want, right? There's a lot of housing. What separate yours, right? What are the amenities? What is the layout, right? Um, and that kind of stuff. Are you gonna rent for middle income, high income? Flexibility. Another tip I give people is look, if you want to do apartment, is you must at least have 3 to 4 layout plans. It gives flexibility to people, right? You can't just have the whole apartment looks like the same, right? Because if somebody comes here, you want to be able to show them to apartment number one, different layout. You can take them to two, you can take them to three. That give them the options to actually rent. Uh, you know, some people want open concept, some people this thing. So you got to start thinking about these things, right? And chances are you probably want to be on the ground to make sure that the layout is sound. Keep your eye on the money and stuff like that. So if I ever do apartments, I'll just do because maybe I grew up in sky rises for a long time, so I don't want to feel like I'm captive. So I'll just do like 2 levels, maybe you know 2 levels, 3 units up or 4 units up, you know 4 units down, that kind of stuff. Because people feel like they can always come down and go up. They don't feel like if you're gonna do 5, 6, you got to provide an elevator, right, and that kind of stuff. So and a nice compound for people to enjoy the idle living. So it's about just doing your homework. Yeah, so yes, security stuff like that. So like I said, there's a lot of ways to deal with that kind of stuff. That unfortunately I can't go public on that kind of stuff. You know, you know, there's the right way to do it. Which we can talk about. Privately and stuff like that. But security is important, right? Your life matters, and just like anything, you want to have a holistic approach, right? Health, finances, lifestyle. Security is a big deal. I don't compromise on mine. I don't suggest you do that as well, and stuff like that. So Ghana actually makes it legal for you to own firearm, and it's a channel that you have to go through and that kind of stuff. Uh, for some people, that's what they want to do. For some people, they don't want to take that responsibility. Everybody's different, but there's other ways too that you can do. CCTV, dogs, like bunch of stuff. So many things you can do to just increase the level. It's about layers, right? It's not just one thing. Nothing. One thing is, you know, everything. So it's about layers and that kind of stuff. So that is private stuff, right? So you can reach out and we can talk about those things. Okay. So I hope this helped. Let me scan through this because I don't want to forget any of the questions. Okay, because I have a habit of doing that. Business, okay, breaks. Yep. So, yep. Okay. I think I got all the answers. If I don't, you know where to find me. Okay. So let's make this happen. Down before it becomes a little costly and stuff like that. So get in and be smart. Always be smart. Um, be smart. It can be done. I'm a living proof. It can be from outside without any nonsense and stuff like that. So we figured it out. We figured it out. We're giving you a lot of good information. I believe. I think we figured this thing out. You know, and so let us help you. Okay. Let us help you. But anyway, thank you again for taking the time out of your day to tune in and stuff, and I appreciate it very much. We'll keep in touch, and then more of the lifestyle videos will come. When I go to Ghana and stuff like that. So then I can share. You can have it all, right? Okay. Thank you. I appreciate everyone. Thank you.